Hey everyone, thank you for visiting Two Mommies and a Blessing. Today I will be talking about research. Research is very important when starting your fertility journey. Throughout this video, I also want to give you a heads up. I have a 3-year-old toddler who will be running in and out asking mommy questions. So back to the research. So the first thing that you and your partner will want to do is sit down and talk about who is going to carry. And carry, I mean who's going to be the one that's going to go through this fertility treatment as far as taking medication and also carrying the baby. In our marriage, we automatically knew that I was going to carry. We weren't sure if we were going to have her eggs and my eggs, but along the line we decided that it was going to be my eggs with donor sperm. So the next thing that you also want to talk about is selecting a donor. As far as race and ethnicity goes. Do you want a donor that is going to resemble your partner, or do you want someone that's going to resemble your family, the person that's carrying? My partner, we both wanted someone that resembled Tiffany, that had her features, somewhat to give her a sense of that's her child as well. Even though, regardless of who he came out to look like, that's her child. But it was kind of cool if we could have found someone that looked like her, or resembled her in some way. And believe it or not, he looks just like her, acts like her. You would think that this is her egg that was, implanted inside of me. That's how crazy it is. So with that, you want to talk to your partner. You both want to sit down and talk about, is religion a factor? Is hair and eye color a factor? As well as blood type. Blood type is somewhat kind of important. It may not be important to you, but you just have to do your research and see what is important for you guys. And if you really don't care about those things, then so be it. But it is important to know the type of gender you both want. I know someone that is they're African American, and they're looking into having a Spanish child. Or I know another couple that is looking into a Middle Eastern donor. Everyone, to each his own. Everyone have a different preference, and you guys may not know how different you guys may have a different donor in mind, and you guys just have to compromise and work together to figure out what will be best. As well as when you're looking into different ethnicities, crossing over to that part is a higher risk for certain child developmental issues, and you just have to do your research as far as that. So the next thing that you want to look into with your donor is education. Is education a major factor for selecting a donor? His background, education, his mom and dad, were their professions, their careers. For us, our donor, his sister, his mom and dad, they're all into the chemistry, sciences kind of fields and aspect, as well as music. So with that, you just want to get an understanding of what you both may want when it comes to looking for a donor. Health as far as the family line, if there's any cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, is that a high risk in the family? Is that a factor that you both, want to look into? Sometimes that may not be important, but you want to know the lifeline. You want to know how long did his great-grandparents live to, and his grandparents, did they have any, fraternal and maternal aunts and uncles? What did they die from? Things like that. So you want to look into that. As well as you want to look into the donor's lifestyle. Was he on drugs? Is he a drinker? Does he do a lot of traveling? Is he athletic? Is he nerdy? The list goes on and on. These are the things that you really want to get to know before selecting a donor. And it's important because you want to know what is expected for your child. He or she may come out to be just like how you are, the carrier, you know, or they may be, they may have characteristics of the donor. So you never know. And yeah, it's good to look into that. And you also, the number one thing from me and for us, the number one reason why the donor donated its sperm. Some sperm banks just collect sperm, you know, to give money to increase um, their profits. And other sperm banks have a reason behind it. And our donor, his sister was unable to have children, so he just wanted to give back. And that really was touching for me. You know, they look into these things and they investigate, and you know, hopefully it is the truth, and I believe it is. And that's what I looked for. That shows that he is, you know, a great person to, you know, give back. So my second thing when doing research is looking up different sperm banks. Looking at different sperm banks is very, very, very important because you have the option to be selective. This is where you're gonna eventually invest your money and time into these sperm banks. So you want you want a sperm bank that you feel comfortable, you know that they're reliable and they're reputable. The process, you want to also know that they have a process, like a screening on every donor that comes in that wants to be qualified to donate sperm. This is very important because a lot of sperm banks may not have those types of testing. You want to know that they do a thorough background check and health screen all the time. Our sperm bank was California Cryobank, and I recommend this sperm bank to every and any couple that is starting their fertility journey. Number one, they're reliable, they're reputable, they've been in business, and they've been in experience with this type of sperm bank for 30 years. So that's a plus for me. I haven't had any complaints, and I know a few other of my friends that have used this sperm bank. And honestly, less than 1% of the donors are qualified. So that's a very strong indication that they're very selective. So my thing is that you start looking up sperm banks, request catalogs, and get your own information. Highlight. You know, when the catalogs are right in front of you, you have the option to highlight, circle, you know, to compare and contrast with different sperm banks. Looking on the website is cool, you know, it's convenient, but when you actually are both sitting down and going through the catalogs, it's much better. And yeah, it's kind of cool. When you go through California Cryobank, these are for the ones that may try to use this. You set up an account, and for each thing that you want to look at about your donor, they have a temperament. You have to pay for that. They have a baby picture. You have to pay for that. They have the health screen. You have to pay for that. They also have the family history. You have to pay for that. So it's very costly. So that's another thing that you want to look into as far as starting your fertility journey. It's planning financially for this process, because any situation, the doctor may say, you know, you need to get Clomid. You need extra dosage for this cycle this month. You need to come up with that money because I'm not sure if, you know, certain insurance companies may cover it. But for our insurance company, they did not cover the medications as well as the sperm. And a lot of insurance companies do not cover the sperm at all. So you really have to do your homework and your research. That's why this is like the number one thing for me to talk about, because when it comes to financial, you really have to have the extra stash just in case. So, and you also want to look into your insurance companies. That's another thing, because certain insurance companies may cover IUIs, certain may not, or you may have unlimited. And then if the IUIs don't work, you have to opt to do, if you're really trying to get pregnant, you have to opt to do IVF, and you also have to see if that is covered with your insurance. So insurance company finance, and researching different sperm banks. Those are the three most important things that you have to do before starting your journey, because you don't want to start going for your consultation at the reproductive clinic and you don't have the finances, because sometimes blood work is not covered, sometimes your co-payment is not covered, you have to do the co-payment. It's a list and a lot of things that you have to look up on and remember before starting your cycle. So another thing, and my last thing, is deciding if you wanted to have a closed or open donor. So with our process, I'll give you a little story. With our process, we looked at his temperament. We listened to an audio tape of him answering questions. That also gives a type of, that lets you know who this donor is without even looking or having any contact with him. Through the audio, you can tell his mannerisms. And, you know, it just gives you a good vibe about the person. We also looked at his education, his family history, and the last thing that I know a lot of people may not do, we looked at his baby picture. And we did that with a few donors before we looked at their pictures. We get their information to get to know who they are before we judge them by their baby picture. And a lot of people may do that at the first time before getting to know the person, but we wanted to look at a different point of view. Look at the donor through his paperwork, through his bio, through his family, through his health and his family's health. And then we looked at the baby picture and we fell in love. And honestly, I feel like that was fate, because he looks so much like Tiffany. It's crazy. So yeah, we looked at the baby picture and we fell in love. And this was the second donor that we did that. The first donor that we tried and we had a failed pregnancy, we looked at the donor picture in the middle of the process. And I said, you know, once we tried to do IVF again, we both decided that we're going to look at the baby picture last, because we didn't want to be superficial and go based on how he looks. And once we saw that baby picture, we were like, OMG. So, you know, and then we found out that he was an open donor. And when it comes to open donor, that means that when the child reaches the age of 18, he or she has the right to reach out to California Cryobank or whatever sperm bank that their donor is from, and get to know the donor side of his family, if they want to, the origin of, you know, where his family came from. And also, excuse me, Monk Monk is in the living room. Okay? Give me a kiss. Okay, mommy's doing something, okay? Mama? Yes? Yeah. We're gonna go see great grandma in a few, okay? Okay. You have to pee pee? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing potty training. He starts school September, so yeah. Sorry about that. So, what I was saying is that an open donor, when the child reaches 18, he or she can request from their sperm bank, where their parents got their sperm from, their donor's information. And when we noticed that, we were just like, well, if he wanted to, but we know deep down inside he will not want to know who his family is, because who his donor's family is and who he is as a person, because he's going to be content with his lifestyle. He's going to know that we love him, and there's no need to reach out to the donor, God willing. But if he did want to, we'll be supportive and we'll understand, and you know, we'll just be there for him as parents. So those are things that you really need to look into when selecting a sperm bank, when looking for a donor. You may not want your child to eventually look for his donor or her donor. So you may want a closed donor, but then you have to explain to the child why you did that and the reason. So with that, that's what we opted to do. And not everyone may be strong enough to handle that, or may want to handle it in general. So those are the major things that you have to look into when starting your fertility journey. Um, it's very important for you to do your homework and to really understand what this process is about. It is very serious, and is a is a hard journey, but it's so rewarding when you find out that you're pregnant and you hear the first heartbeat. So the beginning is kind of rough, but once you get through it, trust me, you can handle potty training. So with that said, I would like to thank you for tuning in. I hope that you like this video. If you do, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. It's okay. Like I said, this is my first time video, and on YouTube, and I just wanted to do this so that I can help other same-sex couples understand the process when trying to become moms, because we didn't have anyone to go to. We had books, we had internet, and we didn't have friends that were going through this. And a lot of my friends, I get emails on Facebook, emails from my website, just asking, how do we go through this? What are the steps? Where, when, why? And now I finally, have the courage to share our story. I am very shy. So, stay tuned. I have a lot more videos coming up. Just the time that I have to post them and edit. But for the most part, I really appreciate your support. And good luck to all the soon-to-be moms out there. I see you. I see you guys going in for your egg retrievals, your egg embryo transfers. A lot of baby dust to you guys. Tune in, and thank you for visiting Two Mamas and a Blessing. Thanks again.